So I think we had planned very moderate stock in keeping with the spirit of the transition. The stock we had planned was moderate because basically the stock is required given that whatever is the company needs some stock at the end of the month because of the shape and size of the country is such that whatever is produced in the next month takes almost 15 to 30 days to reach different parts of the country. So dealers and the company do carry some stock at the end of the month. And since there was no demand for BS4 in MHCV trucks in particular, right till the last day of the month, we had planned to carry some stock. Now, we are now left with 15,000 vehicles in the company, which is less than 15 days of our March sale. Our March sale was 36,000, which itself is not a very big number. This March sales is actually compares with February sales of 30,000 and is actually lower than the previous March of 38,000. So you can see that we did not plan a big bang March sale, and our production plan was accordingly tailored. So we had 15,000 vehicles in stock, of which 4,000 is MHCV, where there is a lot of speculation of pre-buying, post-buying. We have 17-18% of our sales coming in exports in markets which are operating at lower emission norms. We have already conducted that analysis. Almost 60% of our stock can actually be sold completely as is with minimal intervention to export markets. It may take somewhere between 4 to 6 months, but that's okay. We will adjust our production program accordingly. The balance 40%, there are options available. One option is, of course, to see some, for instance, the ICV 11-ton truck VC can be easily converted because it's already a common rail framework. Some of our other vehicles can be converted. So conversion to regular, fully compliant BS4 vehicles, and given that we have to service BS3 vehicles for the next 10 years as part of the company's commitment to after sales, a lot of the components can be reused also. But having said that, I think the last word on whether these vehicles need to be put to use outside India only has not been said. I think the Ministry of Heavy Industries and SIAB has been working. I think they were waiting for the detailed judgment to come out, which happened last Friday, and the MOHI and the industry is working together. I think some of the ministries like MORTH have gone on record saying that since the industry was really following a government regulation of date of manufacture, they do feel that the industry should not suffer such heavy losses, and we are looking at what we can do to support the industry.
So, so you spoke about the fact that 15,000 is the current inventory at this point of time, and out of that, 40% is something which you are saying can go to export markets.
60%.
60% can go to export markets. Out of that,
with minimal or no change at all. For instance, some of our Ace and Magic vehicles, which are BS3, they actually can go as it is. It's just that from the next month's shipment, we produce a little less and we send these vehicles. So 60% can be diverted to export. And
the rest 40, can the whole 40 be changed to BS4, or there's some amount which will still be left?
All vehicles cannot be sent to BS4. For instance, MHCV trucks, I think the configuration is completely different. It is difficult. We are examining, but some of the medium spec vehicles like LCVs and ICVs can be changed. So that's what we are examining. I think that exercise is still not over yet.
In the last,
and whether we will need to do all that finally completely, as I said, is still something we are waiting to see if there are any other opportunities.
In the last 2 days, sir, what were the levels of discounting which took place?
I think at even the best of times, the discounts were running at the level of 3 lakhs. And a lot of pipeline sales were all, even without that notification, we would have expected in every month, if you see, because of the financing pattern, a lot of the pipeline really gets converted into actual retail around 28, 29, 30, because even the funding companies try to meet their targets around that time. So I think the discount would have gone up by about 50 to 70% in the last 3 days.
Now, I wanted to understand from you, sir, the whole year has gone by. So we saw MHCV starting the year on a high. But on the later stage, the second half, we saw the growth or the momentum tempering down a bit. As you also said that last month, despite of a lot of sales happening, the wholesale number was lesser than last year. How do you really evaluate the whole year when it comes to the beginning, the end, and obviously the complete year?
So we have to look at the whole year. March by itself, different companies have adopted different strategies. If you take our March retails of MNHCV, that was about 21,000, whereas our primary sales was only 14,000. So you need to look at the full year, because by March itself, so it is a fact, you can look at the CV industry in two parts. The buses and LCVs, which did not grow so well in the previous 2 years, started recovering, and these segments have seen a good growth. Buses in particular for Tata Motors has been a good business. The industry grew by roughly about 8 or 9%. We grew by 22%. Our market shares improved by 5 to 7%. And typically every year the top two players are neck to neck. We have moved clearly as number one player in buses in 2016-17. So industry growth in buses and LCVs was more stable, and we expect that to continue going forward also. MNHCV did see a lot of ups and downs, which did prove a lot of very challenging for manufacturers. The year started off strongly in continuation of the previous years, good growth. Second quarter, I would say almost mysteriously fell off. Yeah. The only reason we can attribute is that GST started being talked about in a very big way.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/ETNow.